imagine you're on a beach, someplace nice, chilling with friends or family, and you see a dark figure down the shore. You go to check it out, and it turns out to be a gray whale. So, on April 10th, 2010, the Associated Press released an article to the Seattle Times that actually stated that the whale had passed away due to having more than 20 bags of plastic accumulated in its stomach. So it's obviously not good for these animals to be consuming plastic at all, because it's very hard for them to break it down in the digestive system. So I've actually had a dog that loved to eat the little water bottle caps, and we'd have to take him to the vet plenty of times because he'd end up eating maybe two or three of them at a time, and he'd get really sick and out of it. But the overuse of plastic in today's society has become a major environmental problem for our oceans in specific. Plastic pollution and wildlife pretty much go hand in hand. You know, the more plastic that's in the ocean, the more wildlife that will be affected by that plastic. So a study in the journal Marine Pollution Bulletin concluded that over half of the crustaceans, which is a certain type of whale species, have already swallowed plastic, and 22% of them will end up passing away, losing their life due to that plastic consumption. So, another animal that is greatly affected by plastic pollution is just fish. And I say that because their gills are actually why they are more susceptible to being affected by plastic. So plastic, when it's in the oceans, it breaks down and turns into microplastic. So fish obviously have to breathe. So these microplastics are going to be, you know, um, pretty much surrounding them, and it's going to be inevitable that these fish end up being affected by those microplastics. And it kind of bites us in the butt because we're pretty much affecting ourselves from the start, because we consume these fish. So we're going to be consuming those same microplastics in the end. So several studies have found that microplastics um, have been found in fish that are commonly eaten by America, by humans in general. So I think a big solution to this problem is going to be recycling. Recycling is obviously going to be great for the environment, for the marine life, or for just in general. Like my dog, he wouldn't have ever had to deal with those, with being ill for eating plastic. But, you can also save money doing this stuff. Let's say you spend $5 a week on a pack of water. You can save $260 a year just by uh, making a one-time purchase of a flask, one of those hydro flasks or whatever. So, that's another reason to do it as well. And, that begs the question, what would the ocean actually look like if there was no plastic pollution? And, some key answers to that are going to be a boost in marine life in general. We're going to be able to see maybe some new species, or more interactions with just our marine life in general, because there's not going to be these designated areas where everything scatters because of how much plastic is actually in the ocean in that specific area. So in conclusion, I think we're going to need to really look at the negative effects of plastic and realize that it's going to be extremely difficult for us to survive later on, when all these water reservations and oceans are filled up with just plastic, because we're going down a pretty dark path here for the future. We use so much plastic on a day-to-day basis. So it's going to be hard for people later on in life. Later on down the road, let's say in like 2050. It's going to be tough. They won't be able to have as many fish, if any fish at all. They might have to go down into the deep sea to find some fish because of all the plastic is going to be everywhere. We can also save billions of dollars doing this. Um, the U.S. I think I mentioned earlier can save $16 billion a year just on not using any plastic water bottles. That's a pretty big leap, a pretty big large sum amount of money to be saving for that specific country. So imagine if the whole world did it. So thank you for listening to my speech. Hopefully you will leave today and begin to help build a better world.